I got an absolutely massive box in the mail. This barely fit through my front door, but apparently there's a 3D printer in here, so I think we should check it out. Oh, wow. This is a first for me. This printer comes with a full spool of filament. And we've got a small toolkit. Actually, there's not a whole lot in this toolkit other than this smaller toolkit. Looks like they gave me a little rolling pin so I can make some cookies or something. And it looks like this is an entire hot end assembly. We'll take a closer look at this in a bit. Wow, that's a big piece of styrofoam. And here's our printer. This thing's an absolute chonker. So what I'm unboxing today is the QidiTech X-Max 3D printer. They claim this is an industrial grade 3D printer. Now this printer seems pretty big, but it's an enclosed printer. Let's compare its size to an IKEA LAC table, which a lot of people use as a 3D printer enclosure. Just putting this table together, don't mind me. Wow, and if you look at this, this is almost the exact same size as an IKEA LAC. So this might seem pretty large at first, but really it's about the same size as any of the other printers that have a full enclosure. This extruder that we unboxed at the beginning is actually a second extruder, and this is the high temperature version. It already has an extruder installed, so you're getting two extruders for one printer. Let's take a look at what we've got under the hood. This extruder head seems very beefy. These are 10mm diameter steel rods, and they'll hold the print head in place very well. The Y-axis is also held in place with two steel rods, one on either side of the machine, and the Z-axis is supported by four 12mm diameter steel rods and two lead screws. So this thing is built super solid. This external enclosure is made out of plastic, but on the inside you have a steel skeleton. We have a nice front door that's held shut with magnets, and on the back you can see we've got a couple vents, and they appear to have some filters on them. So this will help cut down on the plastic smell that you get with most 3D printers. This machine comes with two flexible steel build trays. It's a little bit bigger than a normal Ender 3 build area, 250 by 300 millimeters. And this is another feature that really sets it apart from the budget hobby grade machines. It's got a thick build plate here, and that makes sure that you have really good dimensional stability. Everything stays nice and flat, and it also ensures that you have a really even temperature distribution across the whole build plate. That way you won't have corners that are cold that have issues with the parts lifting off. This uses permanent neodymium magnets in the base, which are a lot stronger and hold up better at higher temperatures. It's pretty dark in here, but you can see it's got a cable management chain that brings the wires from the base of the machine up to the top. Along the top, it's using a ribbon cable to deliver power to the hot end. So I just plugged it in and I'm going to turn it on. Whoa, that's cool. Looks like they've got some lights going on in there. Let's see if this touch screen is any good, because a lot of these printers have really unresponsive touch screens and I really don't like that. And this one seems alright. I can just navigate through here pretty easily. If I go into System, I can turn the lights on and off. I'm just going to keep them on because it looks really cool in there. This printer uses a 3-point bed leveling system. It's got two in the front and then one in the back there. And each one of these adjustment points have a locking wing nut. So this machine should hold bed level really well. To install filament, you just pull these guides up out of the bottom. I can set this up here, then send it through this little tube here, and then insert it up here so that it can be fed into the extruder. Now that we've got some filament coming out of the nozzle, I just hit the stop button. I'm going to plug in the provided USB drive down here, and we'll try out this test file, Maxiao 25. That's nice, we get a little preview of it. I'll hit the play button, and let's watch it print. Alright, so it looks like we've finished our first print here, so let's pull this out. It's not letting go very easily. We've got a over 24-hour print job, so this will definitely be a good test of the durability and reliability of this machine. Looks like we're a little over halfway done with this print. Everything's sticking to the bed really well, and the print quality looks pretty good. It's got some really nice part cooling, as you can tell, based on these overhang tests. It's going all the way up to 80 degrees without an issue. and none of the parts came unstuck from the build tray. Alright, and let's take a look at these prints. These parts look pretty good. There's very little stringing and everything stayed nicely attached to the build tray. However, I did notice there's some spots where the extrusion didn't come out all the way. And I think that's under extrusion from when the printer makes a travel move and then it starts printing again. It needs a second for the plastic to start coming out of the nozzle. So I enabled travel priming and coasting, which should help correct for stuff like this. So I'm going to start up another print job with those settings enabled. I noticed I was slightly bending these parts when I was trying to get them off because they're still warm, but that's one of the advantages of having two print sheets is I can just install this one and start my next print job while I wait for this one to cool down. I have my next print job queued up on my laptop and I'm just going to go ahead and send it over to the printer. And that took about 10 seconds to finish sending. I'm going to hit yes, and that should start the next print job. And before this print starts, I'm going to put in a different color of filament. Already I can tell these prints are turning out much better. I don't have any holes or gaps where the extruder is starting and stopping. So you're going to definitely want to turn on coasting and priming to get the best results. Ooh, those are really stuck on there. In a good way. Oh, let me use this tool they provided actually. This should make things a little bit nicer. I can just get the tool under there, then pop that right off. This printer offered one of the best user experiences of any of the printers that I've tested. Setting up the printer is super simple. I don't think I even touched an Allen key or wrench when performing the setup. I used the QidiTech slicer for all of my prints. It had a number of benefits, including tuned profiles that are already set up to work with this machine, an option to upload my prints and start them over Wi-Fi, which is super convenient, and I get a little preview of my print job when using the touchscreen menu. As far as print quality goes, everything that I printed came out perfect, even with steep overhangs. The printer also had great bed adhesion. I wasn't worried in the slightest about any of my prints coming detached from the build tray. This printer is neither super fast or super slow, but you can get a lot of work done just because it's so reliable. A lot of times when I'm printing with my other printers, I'll only print one object at a time because I'm worried that something will become detached and it'll ruin the whole print job. But on the QidiTech X-Max, I could just load up an entire tray, and every time I hit the print button, I was 100% sure that it would finish the job without a problem. Most of the time I didn't even bother checking on the printer after it started a print job, because it's just so reliable. I don't think this machine is really designed to be modded. If you look at the Ender 3 clones, there's a bunch of aftermarket support where you can pull parts off and put new things on, but you're getting such a complete package with the QidiTech X-Max that I don't think you really need to mod it. It doesn't have automatic bed leveling. A lot of other printers need ABL to compensate for a weak and wobbly frame, but the X-Max is so solid that it's unlikely to come out of adjustment. And the bed is perfectly flat, so you don't need mesh bed leveling. In the odd case that it did come out of level, the touchscreen menu walks you through each step of the bed leveling process, so even someone without much 3D printing experience would be able to figure out how to level the bed. There's a couple small things about the design that I think could be improved. One is this ribbon cable. It kind of rubs on the sidewall when printing in the upper left corner of the build area. But it has proper strain reliefs built into it, and it's reinforced with a thick and abrasion-resistant tape, so I don't think it would actually cause any problems. But I avoided using the top left corner of the build area whenever possible, so that the cable has enough room to move around. 95% of the time when the machine is running, this is your view from the front window. You can't really see what's going on from the front side, so it would be better if they made the front window go up a little higher, but you can still get a good view of what's going on from above. The other thing that I found questionable was the high temperature hot end design. This second hot end that came with the printer claims to be a high temperature hot end. However, when I took it apart to inspect it and see how it's built, it looked like there was a PTFE tube inside of the heat break, which is something you'll typically want to avoid. They use a little insulating spacer to separate the PTFE tube from the hottest part of the hot end, which should prevent the PTFE from getting too hot, but in my opinion, it's not an ideal solution. I spoke to QidiTech about this, and they assured me that they have thoroughly tested the design, and it should hold up to high temperatures without any problems. However, I personally prefer an all-metal hot end whenever possible. They also said that newer versions of this machine should come with an all-metal hot end design, and they sent it to me to check it out. It looks really nice and I'm looking forward to using it. The next time I need to make an ABS part, we'll see how it performs. Overall, I really enjoyed printing with the QidiTech X-Max. I'd like to thank QidiTech for sending this printer over for testing and review, and my patrons for helping to support the channel. I'll leave links in the description where you can check out QidiTech's printers. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.